Stop letting urgency win. Lead with intention, not just reaction. It happens to even the best teams. The day starts with a strategic goal in mind, but by noon, everyone's chasing fires, answering ASAP emails, or tackling last minute requests. The urgent always seems to win, but what happens when it keeps winning? Leaders who constantly prioritize what's urgent over what's important risk missed deadlines, misalignment with long term goals, depleted team well being, and a culture that's always reacting, rarely building. At C Suite Coach, we work with organizations to break this cycle. Our coaching programs help leaders and teams differentiate between urgent demands and meaningful priorities, reconnecting daily work to the organization's vision. Through practical frameworks and real-time coaching, we guide leaders in making space for what actually matters, not just what makes the most noise. Urgency feels productive. Importance is productive. When we're overwhelmed with competing tasks, urgency feels like the natural priority, but reacting to everything can lead to decision fatigue and burnout, with little real progress to show. Stephen Covey's classic framework breaks this tension down. The most effective leaders operate in the quadrant of important but not urgent, focusing on long-term initiatives, strategic thinking, coaching conversations, and proactive planning. However, that space requires intention and discipline. Because of that, it's often the first to go when the pressure's on. A study from 2023 shows that nearly all executives, 97% of them, agree that strategic thinking drives business success, yet only 28% believe their organization is strong in this area, according to McKinsey. That's a clear opportunity. One C-suite coach helps teams close by turning strategy from a buzzword into a leadership habit. We support organizations in building clarity and capacity through goal mapping sessions, strategic delegation exercises, and custom leadership intensives, helping teams shift from reactive to proactive, thus ensuring their best energy is spent on high-value, high-impact work. Urgency can be addictive. Urgent tasks bring quick wins, instant feedback, and a temporary sense of control. Answer the email, solve the issue, check the box. The instant gratification feels good, but too much urgency leads to a reactive culture where deeper thinking and long-term planning are constantly deferred. Over time, this can diminish creativity, psychological safety, and strategic clarity. We also know urgency culture doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's shaped by internal norms, leadership modeling, and team dynamics. When leaders celebrate speed without reflection, teams learn to prioritize responsiveness over impact. C-Suite Coach partners with companies to shift these cultural norms. Our workshops help teams recognize urgency triggers, assess what's truly high priority, and establish time-blocking rituals for deep strategic work. We also train managers to model this behavior. That way, reflection, planning, and focus become normalized, not niched. So how do we start prioritizing the important? If you want to move from reactive to strategic, start by protecting time for what matters most before the week gets away from you. Try a priority reset. At the start of each week, ask, what are the 1 to 2 important things I need to advance, even if they're not on fire? Use a 2x2 matrix. Sort tasks by urgency and importance. Delegate the urgent but not important. Schedule time for the important, not urgent. Batch and block. Group similar urgent tasks into windows and block time for strategic work early in the day when energy and focus are the highest. And celebrate impact, not just responsiveness. Recognize teams win that come from proactive, value-aligned work, not just fast fixes. We help teams adopt these practices through hands-on strategy labs, priority mapping exercises, and accountability systems that make important work easier to maintain. Whether through individual coaching or team-wide initiatives, C-Suite Coach provides the structure to support impact in a sustainable way. And remember, urgency does not equal importance. One of the most powerful things a leader can do is give permission to pause. When leaders model thoughtful prioritization, teams begin to internalize that not everything is an emergency. This allows room for more meaningful work, more intentional development, and healthier team dynamics. This is especially true for mid level managers who often feel squeezed between executive pressure and team needs. We equip those leaders with communication tools, stakeholder alignment strategies, and decision making frameworks that reduce the reactive scramble. So let's move forward with intention. If urgency has been running the show, now's the time to recalibrate. Start by identifying one recurring task or meeting that feels urgent but rarely advances your long term goals. Pause. Ask, is this still serving our strategy? Could this be simplified or replaced? Then use the time saved to schedule 1 hour of deep, uninterrupted focus this week on something important. You don't have to overhaul your entire schedule. Just begin by reclaiming a pocket of time each week for reflection, strategy, or growth. Over time, those reclaimed hours add up to better decisions, clearer goals, and a culture where the most meaningful work gets the attention it deserves. Here are a few more tips to help your team focus on what matters. Start here. Revisit priorities weekly. Ask, what's our North Star? What deserves our best energy? Build focus blocks into your team's calendar for deep strategic work. Host stop, start, continue reviews to assess where energy is being misused. Encourage leaders to model boundary setting with email, Slack, and meetings. Celebrate impact-driven wins and highlight thoughtful execution, not just fast turnarounds. Are you ready to bring this clarity into your team's rhythm? Let C-Suite Coach support you with frameworks, coaching, and tools to help your team stay focused, aligned, and energized for what matters most.